Hello, water signs. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I have prayed over the cards, shuffled them, asked that each of you gets at least one message. Hopefully you will find more than that. Like I mentioned earlier, we are going to break these down by each astrological sign. Using a lot of cards today. Not going to waste any time to go on into what they are. For those of you that are interested, I will list them below. So if you read the information box below, I will list all cards. Let me fix this cord so Allie doesn't hit the camera. Okay, great. Now just bear in mind, I'm going to list all the cards. So I'm going to list all of the possible clarifying cards that I have ready. And yeah, so I'll be listing all the cards that we're using, and I'll also be listing all of the clarifier cards that I have. So keep that in mind, because you may or may not have the clarifiers that are all going to be listed. And many of you know I don't remember the readings, so I won't remember when I get to the point of uploading these what cards I used with each of you and which I did not. So just keep that in mind. Cool thing is you can go to Google, and if you type in the type of cards, and Google Images will give you some pictures of what they look like, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's the deck she was using. You'll be able to tell also by the images, like the Nymphs. That's obviously those cards. Okay. Hopefully you are all doing well. Preparing for the holidays that are right around the corner, speeding our way. And we are going to run out of room. It's okay, we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. I will work through each of your signs one at a time. I'm going to pull an angel answer card at the end of each one, but I'm going to do it as I wrap up your signs. So we have Scorpio on the top, Pisces, Cancer. So we will pull these as we finish each sign so you all don't have to hop around. Okay. So let's see here. Make sure you can see it. Excellent. You might even get a peek of some Yorkies playing in that upper right corner. Okay. So let's see what we've got going on. We're going to be starting, as I mentioned, with Scorpios at the very top. What we have working our way across is we have what's the situation. And Scorpios, you guys are up here. Situation, what's occurred in the recent past. For most of this, it's going to be like the most recent, like past 6 months. Then you're going to have challenges, what's blocking you, what is unknown to you, and then what the angels are recommending that you do at this time. Now, you have Baker Street Irregular. And this would be the Page of Cups in traditional tarot. And, you know, Holmes, he would use these unofficial spies, these like young kids that would go into undesirable areas, and they would be able to get him clues and tips and information. And those were the Baker Street Irregulars. And oftentimes they were not looked upon positively by the police. Let's pick up Allie so she will stop. Okay. So oftentimes they were not looked at favorably by the police. They were often on the wrong side. And if you can see here, you've got this police officer that's back here, and then you've got this hooligan that's pulling his sleeve, and he's got this look of like, what? I didn't do anything. Because they were always doing things to be of good service. They could be counted on. They were honest. They were forthright. This is all about a friend who is loyal, a loyal companion, someone that you can trust, someone that you can rely on. It's also, you know, someone who's a pleasant companion. It speaks also, you know, resolving a conflict. Obviously, there's a conflict going on here. Someone that's imaginative, thoughtful, someone that can, you know, go above and beyond to fulfill our needs and desires. This is also about, you know, being cooperative and willing and fair and supportive and again, trustworthy. Big picture. Okay. So Scorpios, some of you are going, okay, so those of you in this situation, you are going through some form of a legal battle, a legal dispute. You have been treated unfairly. Many of you, this is like in your place of employment. You see, you have this police officer and you've got this guy that's just grabbing him, and he's like, I didn't do anything, because the Baker Street regulars, they were forthright, they were honest, they were doing the right thing. They were trying to crack the case. They were solving things. They were not doing wrong. So for some of you, you were wrongfully accused of something. Some of you, you were wrongfully treated. So for some of you, you could have been harassed or bullied at work. For some of you, this could have been by a supervisor or someone that was in an authority position over you. And you've been going through a real battle. I was reading this up here. It says news is sent. So some of you are about to receive the decision regarding this. So maybe for some of you, you had to file a complaint because of harassment, discrimination, bullying. Because for many of you, they are saying that like you were bullied, you were wrongly treated. For some of you, there was defamation of character. So for some of you, this was something that you had to file a complaint upon internally. Some of you, you actually had to seek external. It's actually something in the court system. For many of you, this is work-related, but for some of you, this could be something between family, friends. But again, you were wrongfully accused. You were treated unfairly. You were treated wrongly. And for some of you, this is something almost like it's not just you. So essentially the outcome, the result of this is going to benefit many others. It says that you are an advocate. Yes, you are personally having to fight this battle, but many others have gone through the same thing and haven't had the fortitude and the strength that you've had to have to endure the complete BS you've had to tolerate to fight this battle. But it's a battle, they're saying thank you. Thank you, thank you. They're thanking you for going through this because you are fixing things for others that will come beyond, after you, so that they won't have to go through this. So it hasn't been for naught. Now, what you have in the recent past, you have emotional loss, and it's number 5, and you see he's got like his hand over his heart. And this really is all about grieving the loss of someone or something that you've held dear, something that you were very emotionally attached to. You know, sometimes this can talk about love. But for many of you, if it's love, it's love of family, love of friends. But for many of you, it is work. But you have loved your job. You have loved your business. You have loved what you have done professionally. Many of you, your friends or your family would describe it as though you have been, married to your job, but it's because you love it. It has been very rewarding for you. This card is also about honoring our feelings, letting go of fear. It also speaks about the loss and the suffering that you're going through is bringing about tremendous wisdom and healing for your heart and your soul. And also it's telling you that it's preparing you for a new beginning that's right around the corner. So although it's been very difficult, for many of you, very heartbreaking. So for many of you, you've given your all to this company, to this organization, and to be treated in such a fashion and to have to go through such extensive lengths to prove your innocence. And I'll say, so for some of you, it's almost like proving innocence of others too, because it's almost as though What's happened to you has happened to many others. But it's broken your heart. But it's the key thing that's it's pivotal to change your life, to change things for you. It's also a pivotal thing to change things throughout the company, the organization. Because you see, he's got like this spiral around, and over here, when I was looking at this card, that's a spiral as well. Spirals, you know, energy is always vortexes, energy vortexes. So you, this battle that you've been fighting, you have been a change agent. That's what is energy. When energy comes spiraling in, it changes things. It transmutes things. It changes things for the better. What you have endured and what you are going through is actually changing things for the better. There's even energy swirling around him in that card. It is changing things for the better for everyone involved. And they're also saying for those to come. So say maybe you were harassed. Maybe you're in a workplace where, you know, harassment runs rampant. And it happens to people time and time again. And maybe it was just really so bad with you that it is given the opportunity to use your case to get things changed within that organization so it stops happening to others and that so it doesn't happen to anyone else in the future. But it has been a long battle. So for some of you, 6 months, but for most it's been a year to a year and a half, they're saying, that you've been fighting. Now, as far as what's challenging you, you have the Tower. You do have two major arcanas. You have this and the Justice. So you have the Tower, and you see you have these two fairies. They're diving face down into the water. And this is all about, you know, things crumbling down. Things crumbling down because of a faulty foundation. Things that are meant to come crumbling down. This is all about, you know, also diving into the truth, even when it's difficult. And that by diving into the truth, you have time to save yourself. Because you see, back here, the building's burning down. The building is burned down. If the fairies would have stayed in the building, they would have died. They would have gone down with the organization. But instead, they took a leap. And for many of you, this was a leap of faith that you had to take because it was, for some of you, it's like you were going against a big organization. So for some of you, you could have been a whistleblower. But you against this big organization. And it was a tremendous leap of faith. But for some of you, the challenge that you're facing is you're just like, when is this ever going to be over? The fire's been blazing for months. And for some of you, for over a year, year and a half. When is it finally going to be done? For some of you, it's almost like, when am I also going to be safe? Because maybe, you know, if you're a whistleblower within your organization, you have been treated very poorly since then. You feel as though you're questioned at every point. You're under a microscope. So your challenge to some of you is to mentally know that it is going to be over soon, because it is. And to also just let it crumble. So for some of you, you're actually going to be leaving this organization, leaving this company. For some of you, this could be some legal situation with friends and family, but I get for most of you, it's something to do with your employment. Either a company you work for, could be a business that you own. Maybe you were with a corrupt business partner. But when it's all said and done, it's going to be over. The business will be dissolved. You will leave the company. Some of you may have already left. But that's a small number. But you're ready for it to be over. You're ready to dive headfirst into some cool, refreshing water. You're tired of being on the fire. You know, you've been in the frying pan long enough. You're ready for it to be done. Now, what is unknown to you is actually beautiful. You have the Justice card. And this is a major arcana. And at the bottom it says, take the time to review the details carefully. You will win in the end. Fair and objective decisions. You are going to win. This is going to work out in your favor. Because you have stood up for what is right. You didn't do anything wrong. You have stood up for yourself. For many of you, this standing up for yourself is also something that you've had to do to stand up for others. Stand up for the underdogs, as though you are an advocate for others. But you are right, and you have done the right thing. You have acted with integrity. This can also talk about, karma. The scales of karma are about to be balanced. Now, you see there's these two fairy twins, and they're staring at the sword of Excalibur. And it's the legendary sword, also known to be like a magical sword that belonged to King Arthur. And this sword was known that it would only help the people who were actually worthy of it, and those who were true of heart, those who were rightfully sovereign, and so those that had, the supreme power, the authority. But they were coming from the right place, with honesty, with integrity, to do right by others. Swords are known to be very powerful. Those who have swords are known to be of power, have honor. They're known to depict strength as well. Years ago, in some cultures, the peasants were forbidden to have swords. And that was because they could overthrow the kingdom. They could overthrow the leadership. They could overthrow the corrupt leaders who were over top of them. So for some of you, there has been corruption in your organization. And it has been you going against the leadership, the management, who again have been corrupt and been doing things wrong. Since you are doing the right thing, you are able to trust. Okay, so they're saying trust that they're coming to help you. Because, Excalibur would come and help people. Help them. Save them. Trust that you have a lot of divine help. Trust and know that things are going to go in your favor. Some of you are beginning to question that. See how they're looking up and like the sword's illuminated? Archangel Michael, he wields this big sword. He's pretty terrifying for many. He doesn't put up with anything. Many of you have had to really take a leap of faith because you're like, this is wrong. This is so wrong on so many levels, that you had to stand up and take a stand for yourself. Because those of you who are doing this, it was taking a stand for yourself. But in doing so, it's something that has been wrongly done to others. But it's about to be over. For many of you, it's going to be over this month. So again, this reading is going to be for early November through early December. So for many of you, during this time frame, it's going to be done. It will be done. It will be over. And you have been waiting on that. So it's like your Christmas gift. Now, as far as what's recommended, you have two cards. You have Woo Woo Wonderful. And for many of you, you need to allow yourself to be spiritually guided. You need to allow God, allow the angels, allow them to take care of this. Because it's, see, there's like this door knocker. So many of you are about to walk through the door for a new beginning, which means this is ending. This is done. Kaput. Finished. But in order to walk through that door, you are now at the point that you just need to let go and allow the divine to finish this for you. Because they're going to finish it. And many of you are wondering, like, what else do I need to do? Have I missed something? Have I missed a step? Because, oh my gosh, this is taking so damn long. But you don't need to do anything. You really don't. You have card 19, Rest and Rejuvenate. And this really is about relaxation, taking a break, resting, being at peace, chilling out. So what you need to do, Scorpio, you just need to relax. They've got it. You've taken all the steps that you need to, and during this process, you've had to be divinely guided. And you have listened to those steps. You have taken them. Some of you have had some things recently that you thought, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, and you felt like you were spinning your wheels, nothing was working out. It's because you didn't need to do it. Your work is done. It's now time for you just to relax, take a breath. Some of you, the stress has been affecting your health. So start focusing on your health. Start getting some relaxation. Go get a massage. And let God land this plane. God and the angels are about to land it. Now, it may be a bumpy landing for those who have been doing wrong. Because karma never loses an address. And for many of you in this situation, it's not just you. There's been a lot of people that have been done wrong. Including you. You've been done quite wrong. But again, you have this energy. This is spiraling. It is spiraling to completion. Just let God and the angels take care of wrapping it up, and you relax and know that it is about to be done. And just be at peace and know it is going to work in your favor. It's definitely going to be working in your favor. Okay, think of a question real quick. We're going to pull one angel answer card. Let me get the book. Okay, you have listened to your intuition. Okay, so let's find that. Okay. Listen to your intuition. Your intuition is completely reliable and accurate at this time. Listen to your own inner guidance and you can't go wrong. You can be certain that the messages you're receiving from your angels are real and trustworthy. Have faith in your feelings about the circumstances you're experiencing. Your insights into other people and their true feelings or motives are perfectly accurate. There is no need to question what you know is true. Okay, Scorpios, hang in there, you're almost done. Okay, now moving on to Pisces. So you get 2 cards for your situation. Let's see if that's going to be... Okay. So the first card you also have 2 major arcanas. You've got, this would be the sun, it's the magnifying lens, and then you have awareness. You don't have any repeaters. Okay. So the magnifying glass. You know, Holmes, he would always walk around with a magnifying glass. But he did that because he was able to examine things and get a lot of detail on them. And it was that detail that was imperative, that was something that had to be found in order to crack the case, in order to figure out what in the heck is going on. And the sun is all about illumination. This is all about illuminating the truth, finding out things that are hidden, find out things that, you know, really require a little investigation. But getting that clear sight, getting that enlightenment, focusing on it to get that information, to get that clarity. This can also speak about, you know, that clarity leads to us having joy and freedom and enthusiasm. It can help us become optimistic because we're like, aha, I got it. I figured it out now. It can remove our fear. It can remove our doubt, remove our worries. But it's all about clarity. Knowing what is going on, knowing the truth, seeing the details, seeing the things that aren't really, although out in the open, they're not really out in the open. You've got to look really closely. It's about purity. It can also speak about health. It can also be, you know, directness, like getting to the point. Because, you know, getting out this magnifying glass and zooming in, you're focused on the point. Then you also have the 10 of Cups. In this deck, it's analysis. And this is all about this couple. They were divorced. Their son disappeared. And so Holmes was trying to figure out, you know, what happened. Who stole his son? What happened? And come to find out, there was an illegitimate son that the Duke had. And actually, I don't think the husband and wife were totally divorced yet, but they were separated. And so the Duke, he had this illegitimate son. It was a son that he'd had with, I believe, his secretary, but it was that son who stole his legitimate son in hopes of, getting some money, tarring his name. He felt as though he had been wronged. But this is all about, being reunited. A family reunited. You can see him at the end of the hall. He's apprehensive to walk up to his parents because he'd been separated from them for some time. But it's about contentment, happiness, blessing within your home, blessing within your family, lasting contentment with those that you love, the delight of a homecoming, wholeness, completion. It is a 10, and 10s are completions. So for some of you, things have been on the rocks with your spouse, your partner. So for some of you can even have been, back and forth, and you recently come back together. But you're apprehensive because you're like, something doesn't seem right. Something feels off, but you're not sure what it is because you don't have the clarity at this point. Because again, this is all about getting clarity. And you don't have the clarity. You want to be together. You want things to be transformed, transmuted. You want it to be happy. You want there to be joy and contentment and bliss. But something's still off. And you're not really sure what it is. Now, what you've got in the past, and what they're saying the timing for most of these past cards is about 6 months, is you have awareness. And this is a major arcana. This would be the Magician in traditional tarot. And this is always about, having everything that you need to create the outcome, to create the goal that you have in mind, to create the reality that you desire. It's also about, completely switching directions. And doing so by positive thinking and optimism and visualizations and affirmations. It's really, having faith in the willpower that this is going to work. I am going to manifest this. By golly, I am going to make it happen. And that's how you felt. For many of you, it's like, okay, we're going to come back together. We're going to work this marriage out. We're going to work this relationship out. This is going to work. We don't have to end this thing in divorce yet. We don't have to break up yet. And for some of you, you have come back together, but something still isn't right. You know that something is off. Because what's challenging you is ending this relationship. Now, okay, so to not startle those of you. So for those of you, if you're in a happy marriage and things have been going great, this message is not for you. Things will continue down the path. This is for people who have been in a marriage or a long-term committed partnership relationship that has been off and on and off and on. And you had filed for divorce or you were about to file for divorce and then you changed your mind last minute. Because again, you keep trying to make it work and trying to make it work, and the reason it's not working is because it's not meant to. So for those of you in this situation, this is not a surprise, because again, for those of you that are happily married or you're in a relationship that's going well, this is not for you. This is for those of you that have been on the cusp. You've even started the divorce proceedings before, and it's just not happening because you've tried so hard to make it work. You have the Death card as far as what's your challenge. And this is really talking about shaking off the remnants of the past, letting the past go in order to have an emotional rebirth and a new emotional beginning. And this is your challenge, Pisces. Your challenge is to let this die, let this end. let it be over. And it has been a battle for you. You see here, she's nude, she's laid back, she's just showing it all, bearing it all. So for many of you, you have done everything you can to try and make this work. But they're trying to free you of this so you can move into something new. And I'm not advocating for people to be going out and divorcing and breaking up, but again, those of you in this situation, you know that this is you. You've been on the cusp and have even started the proceedings before. Many of you are concerned about funds, money. Let's go ahead and get these over here too. Because what you have as far as your unknown, you have the Queen of Spring. And at the top it says brilliant, loyal, talented, friendly. And at the bottom it says believe in yourself. Wonderful people want to help you. Maintain a balance between work and home life. And the Queen of Spring, she's like amazing. She can do it all. She's like a devoted parent. She's a trusted friend. She is a fierce competitor because sometimes she wants it her way, and that's the only way. But she's very independent. She's very strong. She's a very capable, strong leader. People look up to her. This is also a reminder to trust in yourself, trust in your abilities. You can do this. So for many of you, you're fearful of, okay, I don't know if I can make it financially as a single mom. I'm not really sure if I can do that. But what's unknown to you is that you can. You can. You're going to be okay being independent. You're going to be able to take care of things. They're also saying to trust in yourself. Also trust in your intuition. Because what's unknown to you is many of you are getting like a lot of intuitive hits and information. But you're not trusting them. And sometimes we don't want to trust them when we're going through heartbreaks in these situations because we want so badly for it to work out. But to trust those things. And to know that you're going to be perfectly fine on your own. You really will be. Now, as far as what they're recommending that you do, you have two cards. You've got the first card is play, number 11. So for some of you, it's also shifting your thoughts more to optimistic. But this is about, having some fun because this has been an uphill battle for you for a very long time. And a lot of you have kind of gotten into this slump. We're just like, okay, I'm not happy. I'm working really hard to try and make this, but it's still not making me happy. And I still feel like I'm having to do a lot of work, and it's just a struggle, and it's kind of sucked your joy out. So to get out of that slump, to get back to a place of optimism, joy, know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Do something that's fun. Even if it's something silly, singing to a goofy song and dancing, something that just makes you laugh throughout the day. Because sometimes when we're in a really bad spot, we can't go have some great joyous day because we're just not there. We're struggling. But if you can do something little each day to bring in some laughter, bring in some joy, do something silly, jump in a puddle, watch a funny movie, go see a comedian, do something that's going to make you laugh. That will start to shift things for you. Now, the other card that you have is deceit. And this really is about hidden intentions, hidden tactics. It's warning of that. It's warning of manipulation. This is all about, get the information. There are things that you do not know. And it also comes back to this magnifying glass. Looking at things closer. So many of you, they're encouraging you this month to start really looking at things because there are things that you are not aware of. There's some deception going on. There's some manipulation. So for some of you, it is tied to money. Some of you, there's deception about someone else. Not for all of you. It doesn't have to be for all of you. They're cheating. Some of you, they are. But for some, maybe he has a gambling addiction that he's not sharing with you, and it's all clammed up. But there's something that you do not know. So what they're encouraging you this month is to figure out what that is. Listen to your intuition because they are giving you a lot of intuitive information that will help you if you will listen to it, if you will allow it to come in. They'll help you uncover the clues if you're open to seeing them. Now, as far as, oh, almost forgot for you, think of a question. If there's something that hasn't been answered yet, we will pull you an angel answer card, Pisces. So go ahead and ask your angels. So we're going to pull you one more within the next few months. Okay, let me get the book real quick and read these for you. Okay. Ask your angels. Your angels are always with you. However, you must ask for their assistance in order for them to provide you with the help you are seeking. Because heaven respects your free will choices, state your questions to your angels clearly. You can do so either out loud or silently in your own mind. Your angels will instantly help you according to God's will. Your angels may also have special messages for you about the situation you're asking about. Sit quietly in a peaceful place, indoors or out in nature, and ask for advice and guidance. Notice what messages come to you. It's possible the answers will come to you through your feelings, hearing, or sight, or perhaps you will just know the answer. You can also ask the angels for signs during the day to guide you onto the right path. Within the next few months. In the next few months, what you are asking about will occur. Divine timing means that other people's free will choices are also involved. So keep the faith while all of the pieces of this puzzle come together and the situation resolves itself beautifully. Okay. Now, let's move on to Cancer. Let's see what you have over here. Okay. You have two major arcanas. You get 21 and 11. Okay. But no repeaters for you either. So you have the 5 of Analysis, which is the 5 of Cups. And, you know, Holmes was always trying to find out, like, you know, what is the true, real, scientific, logical reason behind this? Because sometimes things would happen and they would totally appear supernatural. But he's like, that can't be, because he didn't believe in the supernatural. And there was this one case where this entire family had just mysteriously died. And no one could really figure out why. And when he was trying to solve the case, he ended up finding this man who was a lover of one of the people that had died. And when he came upon him, the man ended up dying, killing himself, because it was this hallucinogen. And when they would burn it and such, it would end up killing him. So what happened was Holmes was always really beating himself up because he wasn't able to stop this additional death. But he had this sense of, you know, delusion, disappointment, because he felt it was his fault. So this is, you know, learning about our mistakes. It's also about other ways of doing things, getting to things, acknowledging our grief, acknowledging our disappointment, acknowledging our loss. It also speaks about, you know, maybe some friendships or relationships that we have are in trouble. It also speaks about, you know, although we're losing something, although we have lost something, we will be gaining or have gained something else. Broken agreements, focusing on our failures. Also, broken agreements or promises that we have with someone or that someone's had with us. So for many of you, this is love related. You started this relationship with someone and you thought it was going to be great. For some of you, this relationship began some 6 months, but for many of you, 8 or 9 months ago. It's a new relationship. But you met this person. For many of you, could be a fire sign. It's because you have this King of Wands. So don't get stuck to the sign. But for some of you, he's a fire sign. So he could be a Sagittarius, a Leo, or an Aries. Again, don't get stuck and committed to the sign. If this sounds like your story, it's your story. But they're saying that for some of you, he's a fire sign. awesome. But again, you started this relationship 6, 8, 9 months ago, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is great. But it's not going so well. You've been disappointed. You've been upset. For some of you, maybe so for some of you, he's made promises or things, and he doesn't come through with those promises, and you're like, okay, what in the heck's really going on? Because they always have the same, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's this smoke. And you're like, okay, there's something I don't know. There's something that's not being shared with me. And you feel so like it's a disillusion, like you're being promised and told that, okay, baby, this is going to be great. Oh, this is going to be permanent. We're going to build a family together, a life together. This is going to be lovely. But what he's physically doing is not matching that. He's not wanting commitment. He's not wanting to create those things. He's disconnected. And you're upset about that and disappointed because you're like, okay, I kind of thought that we could have this. Because what you have in the past, and again, the past row is, they're saying for most past 6 months. So, but they're saying again, for many of you, they're saying 8, 9 months ago you started dating. But you have the universe. This would be the world card in traditional tarot, which is all about completions, endings, finalizing things, but it's also triumph, receiving rewards for all of our efforts and hard work. But it's also about gaining wisdom. And the things that you want, the things that you desire, finally being within reach. So you see this, you got like this galaxy and it's spiraling and it's scooping up all these stars. So for some of you, you're like, okay, I want to scoop me up and find me a keeper. And so you met this guy. For some of you, could be a gal, could be reverse, but they're saying for most of you, it's a man. But you met him and you're like, oh boy, that's my keeper. I'm going to pull him in. This is going to work. This is going to be great. Oh my gosh, this is what I've always wanted. And you have had fun together. You have had an enjoyable time together. But you're now at the point that you're like, okay, where's this going? What are we doing? You want more commitment. And he does not want commitment. You're ready to move in. You're ready to get engaged. You're ready to get married. You're ready to do these things. But that's not what he wants. And you're seeing that. They're saying he's not vocalizing that to you, but you can tell because he's pulling away. And he has been pulling away. But they're saying neither of you are having this conversation to end it. But you know that he's not all in. You know that he doesn't want this. Because what's the challenge for you is this King of Wands. And wands are fire signs. But you see how he's like looking down? That's funny. So in the intro, I was talking about, planting your seeds, how some, this work that has to be done these next couple of weeks, some have gone and planted their seeds in unfertile ground, and you need to pull those seeds up and replant them and all that. This card is all about being capable to plant seeds, and plant seeds that could take root and grow. He's in the middle of this open area. He could plant seeds. He could create this forest. Fire signs, wands, they're all about action and doing stuff. But he's not planting seeds. He's not. This is saying if you want to plant seeds, you could. If you wish to do so, you could plant seeds. You could grow a forest. But he doesn't want to. It's like he's on dry, barren land. You see how he's like looking down? He doesn't have his hands down in a big basket filled with seeds. He doesn't have a plow. He's not digging to plant the seeds. He doesn't have a watering bucket. He has no intentions of planting seeds there. But he looks sad. He looks like a hot, disheveled mess who hasn't shaven in a long time either. So for many of you, he came in heartbroken from a breakup. And and he's still thinking, or has been thinking, about his ex. Could be an ex-spouse, could be an ex-partner, but it was someone that he cared about deeply. And all of us, when we go through a breakup, we have a really hard time afterwards. Some of us jump into relationships, some of us don't. He jumped into a relationship with you. But he wasn't ready to plant seeds. He didn't want to plant seeds. He still does not want to plant seeds. He just wanted to feel some daylight on his face and feel like, okay, am I still alive? Did I make it through that? Because that was really bad. Feeling kind of like I've had my clothing ripped up. I've been kind of beat up, knocked down. He's all scraped up. He's been through hell. So for those of you, he was in a really toxic relationship. And he just barely scraped getting out of that mess. And then he met you. And you made him feel like, okay, there's some sunlight, some sunshine on my face. But he didn't have intentions of planting seeds and growing a family and growing that, and, you know, growing and establishing roots. They're saying he was there for fun. And you guys did have fun. You have had an enjoyable time. It's just now you're wanting different things. You're ready to be with someone who wants to plant seeds, who wants to grow a family, who wants this long term. I'm sorry, Cancer, but he doesn't want that. He doesn't. And that's why it's a challenge for you, because you're still hopeful for that. But it's not going to happen with this one. For those of you that have the courage, they're saying, to have this conversation and things, which we're going to talk about that here in a minute, you'll be able to clear the slate to meet someone else. They're saying January, February, get past the holidays. They're saying that if you are able to have the conversations, again, this is this time frame for us to do this work that we're going to go over in a second. If you can end it, you will give yourself the couple months to heal and mend your heart so that you are ready for the one that they will bring in. They are going to bring you what you desire. It's just not with him. But you know, I was reading that story in the beginning about people who are destined and meant to be, and that, you know, man and woman, they met each other and they were like married or engaged within 3 weeks. When you know, you know. When that person's all in and they know it and you're all in and you know it, you don't have to keep waiting for someone who's like, I just want to enjoy this light and fun, and I am not planting any seeds, because you're both wanting the same thing. But that's how it is when it's like a meant to be thing. It just isn't meant to be. They have someone else for you that's meant to be with you. That's all. That's all. So what's unknown to you is strength. And at the bottom it says, the grace and inner strength needed to overcome challenges, the power of kindness and forgiveness, time to embrace how wonderful you are. See how she's kind of like looking, she's got a little bit of hair in front of her face, kind of like, I don't trust you. Many of you don't trust him because, again, his words are not matching with his actions. Lots of promises, lots of things coming out, no action being taken. And it's hard when we really want something, we really want it bad, but at some point we have to pay attention to their actions. What are their actions telling us? And like I said, Cancers, unfortunately, he does not want the same thing that you do. And that's okay, because they're going to bring you someone in that does. This is all about, you know, speaking up for yourself, speaking up and saying no, taking a stand in your convictions. But it's also about, you know, the power of kindness, doing so with kindness. And it's also forgiving yourself, forgiving others. So sometimes we, you know, have expectations in relationships. And for some of you, maybe very well he has been misleading you. They're saying for some of you he has. Some of you he has made you think, because again, broken promises and stuff, for some of you he has made you think that yes, he wants to build a family, he wants to do these things. He has given that false image, false perception, which is why you're like, okay, there's smoke. Something's not adding up. What's unknown is it's time for you to trust that intuition. It's time for you to stand up. It's time for you to also have that conversation. Because it's not, this isn't what you want. This isn't working for you. You want someone who wants to be there. You want someone who wants to build a foundation. You want someone that, okay, when they say that this is what they want, that's it, and you move forward on it. That's not with him. And for some of you, he hasn't been coming up with those things. Some of you, he's just been avoiding those conversations, period. It's like, I'm not going to talk about that because I don't want that. But again, you still know. You know it's not right. You know he's not on the same page, and he's not going to be on the same page. But you see all these like little sparkly, like little stars all around. You know what they're saying is, again, they're trying to clear the canvas, clear the slate for you so they can bring something magical in. Now, for some of you, it's going to be in not losing your hope and faith, because they are going to bring you someone. And for many of you, if you can clear this slate before the holidays, they are going to bring someone new in for you in the beginning of the year. They're saying for some of you, it would be best for you to end it before the holidays so you don't get any further entangled, as some of you have kids. So you don't get tangled any further. Because it's not good for either of you. And you know that. You know that something's not right, but they are going to bring you in something magical and beautiful. Now, as far as what they're recommending you do, you have seek solitude. Card number 33. And this is, sometimes we're just super stressed and overloaded and we just need to take a time out. This is about breaking away with no guilt. See, he's got this plug unplugged. So they're recommending that you disconnect from him. They're also recommending that you do so because they're saying for some of you, you're very critical of yourself. So like the unknown is that be kind to yourself. Because they're saying for some of you, it's almost like you beat yourself up like, oh my gosh, could I have done more? Maybe I didn't do enough. You've done enough. It's just not meant to be. That's all. And thankfully, it's a new relationship. You haven't invested much. It's just not meant to be. Be thankful for the fun that you had. And be thankful that they're about to bring something in beautiful and new for you that will last. But they're saying it's time to end it. It's time to disconnect. It's time to break away. It's time to free yourself. And to do so, because for some of you, they are saying that, to be able to do so without feeling guilty, without beating yourself up, without feeling like, okay, I'm less than, I haven't done enough. You've done enough. You've done more than enough. It's just some things aren't meant to be because they have better things in mind for us. They just have someone better for you. And the other card that you have is indecision. Because many of you for a long time, you've been thinking about calling it quits. And they're saying even he has been thinking about calling it quits because some of you, he does feel bad because he knows that he's been misleading you. But he has had fun. He has enjoyed your company. They're saying for some of you, it's like he hasn't wanted to have the conversation. For some of you, he hasn't wanted to have the conversation because he hasn't wanted to hurt you. Some of you, he's kind of been hoping that you would have the conversation. But you both want to have the conversation. You both know that it's not working. What they're saying is make the decision to have that conversation. This really is all about being super anxious and worried about a decision that we have to make, a choice that we have to make. For many of you, it is totally wearing on you. It's draining your energy. But it's time to stop overanalyzing and overthinking, because not making this decision to move forward is what has you stuck. They're saying, it's time now for you to decide to move on and let go and to end the relationship. That's going to get you out of this state. It's going to clear the air. It's going to clear the canvas so that you're ready to move forward with someone else where it will be magical, where you won't feel like, oh my gosh, I have to do all this to try and make it work. And it's like, he's still not all in. What in the heck? Because when they bring you this person that is meant to be, it's just going to come together so beautifully and easily. So go ahead and think of a question to answer real quick. We're going to pull you one angel answer card. Unlikely. Let's get the book real quick. Well, I am sorry, Cancer. Kind of like the Pisces. Although they are saying that those of you in the situation, you know that this is you. So for those of you that are in great relationships, this is not your message, but you know, because it hasn't been going well for a while. And again, this is a huge time of transformation. They are pushing us right now, immediately, to get rid of the things that are not working so we can clear up space for things that will work and will move forward in all areas of our lives. For some people, it's work. For you, it's love. It's time to let go of a love interest that's just not working, and it's not meant to. But again, remember, that's so that you are prepared for something that will come in and be beautiful and will stand the test of time. So know that. Know that you're worthy of that. Know that you're going to receive that. Okay. Unlikely. The situation you have asked about is unlikely to occur as you are imagining it. There may be different versions of events that will take place, or it may be what you've asked about is simply not in your highest, greatest good. Place your focus on an alternative possibility. Open your eyes to different opportunities. Be willing to experience a unique and more uplifting outcome than what you had planned for yourself. Okay. Well, I hope that helps all of you. I do wish you all an amazing month filled with a lot of love, joy, and blessings. And for those of you that are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you have an amazing time with your friends and family. Safe travels, and I will talk to all of you again after Thanksgiving.